your walk says a lot about you. Now you can walk and it looks like you're doing too much, or you can walk and it says a lot about you. Now, most of my subscribers are men, so you're probably not going to walk the way I walk. However, let me talk about the 3 different walks. There's my natural walk. Let's call it default. So I walk exactly like my dad used to walk. My dad was an athletic build, and he walked what I would consider an athlete. So my walk naturally is, because I walk like my dad, my default is just not very exciting. And I've always thought that my walk was not feminine enough. It just was very, I don't want to use the word clunky because I don't even really understand that terminology. But I will say it was that of an athlete. Like if I'm wearing sneakers, it works. If I'm wearing a dress, it doesn't work because it looks awkward. So lately, I have been trying to focus on my walk, but I'm not forcing it. I've just been more aware of how I walk. So what I do is I try to keep my knees together and I just try to walk short strides. Let me show you, just short strides. Not a lot of hip action, just short strides. And it's just what it is. And I practice this walk while I'm walking my dog. I've got my coat on, dog's on the leash, and I'm just walking, keeping my knees together. That's the key there, is keeping my knees together. And the thing about that kind of walk is that it's very confident. I don't need to hurry. I don't need to be in a rush. It's short strides, and I'm just walking with ease. And the ease part is what is sexy and confident. Then there's the catwalk, right? Like the models on the runway. And they do short strides because that's where the confidence comes in. But they do short and more hip action, right? So it's almost like moving, like there's motion in the walk. It's obviously there's motion in the walk, but there's more motion up here in the body. And so it's very sensual in a way and very confident. Now then you have the models like Naomi Campbell that like lots of attitude and they almost stomp. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm not a big fan of that. Although, hey, if you can do it, she's probably the only one that can pull that off the way that she does, because she's got the attitude to go with it, and it's very fierce. I don't prefer to walk like that. I prefer not my dad's athletic walk, even though that's my default. And if I'm not thinking about it, I go back to my default. And it's not very attractive when I'm in a dress or just trying to be more feminine. And then there's the second walk where short strides. And then there's the model walk, the catwalk. And it's just more movement back and forth. A man's walk is going to be a little bit different. However, I do think there's something to the walking slower. There's men that walk really, really fast. And for me, I have to like run walk to keep up with them. And for a woman, from a woman's perspective, do you want to know my perspective on that? You're in a hurry, you're not paying attention, and you're not present. That's what it says to me, is that you're not present in the now. Because if you were, you would see that I'm like run walking to keep up with you. And it's like, let's slow it down and like, let me be a woman and let you be a man. And we can walk together, right? Short. Now you don't have to do the keeping the knees together. that's a woman thing, but your walk says a lot about you. For example, my husband's walk is very confident. He's taller, he's a big guy, so he carries himself like an owner. Like he owns the place, wherever he's at. And that's what I love about him. One of the things. So what does your walk say about you? Leave it in the comments. Or just food for thought. What does your walk say about you? What have you been told? Have you been told by a woman like, oh, you walk really fast? That's not a good thing. I'm just saying. But there's ways to correct it. Just slowing down. Everybody has their default walk. Like, I go back to my dad's walk because that's just, I've always walked like my dad. I've been told I walk like my dad. So I have to actively think like, okay, shorter strides, confident, I'll get there when I get there. And not that you're taking your sweet time, but you're on a mission, you're confident about it, but you don't have to run there. You don't have to run to wherever you're going to. You can do it with confidence. Cheers.